Hello everybody and welcome to Forza Motorsport 3 for the Xbox 360. Today I'm going to be taking a look back at one of the best racing games from this generation of consoles and what I consider to be the last great Forza game. And in fact, it was actually my first ever Forza Motorsport game. I grew up playing on the PlayStation 2, and when I got an Xbox 360, this had just come out a couple weeks beforehand. So I'm going to be taking a look back. I do have the old school Microsoft racing wheel set up. Does not have anywhere near the range of my Fanatec wheel or the brake pedal. Definitely doesn't have any resistance to it, so it's going to be a learning curve for me too. But yeah, let's jump right in and take a look back at one of the greatest racing games on the Xbox.
Forza Motorsport 3 puts the power and potential of hundreds of the world's most coveted cars in your hands. We have arranged a race in the Audi R8 to introduce you to high-performance driving.
God, I missed that announcer guy, although it did get a little annoying because, you know, he was there every step of the way. But it is good to hear his voice again. And this actually, I believe, was the only Forza game that came on 2 discs because of how big the game was. So we're going to go right ahead in. Controls on here. I never liked the default controls, really. Handbrake with the A. I think actually this one was okay. It was in the later games when they switched to the rewind button being on Y. I never understood the reasoning behind that. But definitely longer loading times than we see on current gen games, even in current Forza games, of course. Now, full disclosure with the current games, the last one I played fully was 6. I played only a little bit of 7, but I honestly couldn't stand it, so I stopped playing. This game, without a doubt, had my most hours in it. Forza 4 had a good amount. 5 had a really good amount, but that's because it was the first one on the Xbox One. But really, I think 4 is when it went downhill, and then when it went over the Xbox One, I think it just completely went away. So let's go into our assists here. So I have it on hard. So I'm going to go ahead and turn manual shifting and the suggested line off. Been a long time since I've played this game, obviously. But it's also been a long time since I've seen this course, but I do remember loving the fantasy tracks from Forza 3. This was like the headliner one. Forza 4 gave us the Bernese Alps. With Forza 5 we got Prague, I believe it was. I don't know what 6 introduced. I believe the 7th was the desert race. But yeah, let's jump right into it. So I'm going into this completely blind. Haven't touched this game. I just downloaded it. I just literally picked up an Xbox 360 today and decided to launch this game for the nostalgia reasons. And here we go. And it looks like there's traction control, but I believe that's because this car has traction. Excuse you. This car has traction control. Now, one of the things you have to get used to right away is the fact that if you race on current consoles or anything, you're used to a 900-degree rotation. This has not even close to that. It doesn't even go around for 360. It is 270, and that is it. But regardless, we're going to shove our way up the inside because that is the way to do it in these games, especially when you only have a short race to get things done. So we're going to take this Ferrari on the left-hand side. Ooh, cones. That's okay. We're okay. We're still good. And we have this Corvette, which at the time, of course, was the current model, but now quite a few generations old. Of course, this is just the intro race, so we're racing the short course, not the full version, and the AI set to a very easy difficulty mode. So we're just going to completely zip past on the right-hand side. And now we're pretty much just going to have a lap by ourselves as we get on the brakes. And another thing that's so weird about this is, if you know, a lot of brands do it nowadays, but it was not common for the wheels to have any resistance on the brake pedal. So the brake pedal just goes right to the floor. And that's really something you have to get used to again. It feels very weird. I'm used to having that resistance just like I would in a real car, but here there's absolutely nothing. Whoa! And, ooh, okay. So we're going to use a rewind there. So part of it is without the having to get used to so little steering, I'm trying not to turn too much because that's just what my brain's used to. You know, when you do the 900-degree steering wheels, it's like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. But here, it's you turn a lot to do a little, and it's like this part of my brain's trying to access these memories from being a middle school, high school kid racing on the 360 and having this wheel. And while the force feedback obviously wouldn't be passable by today's standards, I mean, it's still pretty good. It's I believe it's belt driven. It definitely feels like it's belt driven, but it actually feels pretty good. And a lot of this is coming back just intuition wise. I mean, the handling for being a console game and for being this old is still really good. Honestly, these things handle just as good, if not better, than the current gen cars where they just constantly want to drift on you. But yeah, we're going to come across the line here with an easy victory in the introduction race. I mean, it's kind of hard to lose the introduction race. They make it so easy for you.
Time to choose your first car. Any of these will be competitive.
So yes, when you start the game, you start off in the hatchbacks. Now, I remember I went with the Aveo when I first started this because we're a Chevrolet family at my household. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that car for this one, just to throw it back to my original days of playing this. Of course, you get to pick through the different cars. I've always been a sucker for a dark blue car, so we're going to go ahead and pick that. Yes, I am sure. Thank you.
When you're ready to get behind the wheel, choose Go Race.
Go Race. So let's see, just looking at the cars here, of course you only start off with the one car, but you know, car selection, of course, very different from what it is now because you have such older cars. I mean, this is considered to be the highest of the class in the stock game. Of course, there was DLC added that added more cars, but it doesn't look like the DLC cars show unless you actually purchase them. Oh wait, no, it's actually, oh, there is one right here. With the VIP content. Oh, so that one's with the stock game. Now, one thing I do remember is the stock cars in this game were a ton of fun. We actually flirted with the idea of a league I used to be in. We ran like a semi-season with the stock cars in this game just because of how good they were. But then Forza 4 came out, and it just kind of made it pointless because Forza 4 didn't have fuel or anything, which really I think was the start of the downgrade of the series. And got the V8 supercars, the Virgin Australia supercars, my favorite team, Team Vodafone, which is now Team Holden Red Bull. It'll be interesting to see what they transition to in the next year as they move away from Holden factory support. Got some nice looking Hondas in here, along with the old Super GT cars. No open wheel cars in this version of the game. Open wheel cars weren't added till Forza 5 when it was first introduced with the IndyCar. Let's see, we got some Saturns and Pontiacs. If I remember correctly, when this game came out, those were still modern cars. I believe they were still around when this game came out. You can see not as many brands as there is in the current games, but it was a good amount. Auction House.
In the auction house, you can bid on customized cars from players all around the world.
I don't even know if this is still up. Wow. There isn't much. There's only a couple cars because obviously not many people playing Forza 3 in the year 2020, but an interesting amount of cars still here. So let's go down, set our difficulty. So opponent, let's switch that over to hard. We'll go with simulation. Go ahead, save that. Now, I loved the career mode.
In order to begin your career, choose season play.
The event list was nice because you could actually go through everything you unlocked and do it in the way you wanted to. The Speedway series, that was always great. Where is it? The Endurance. This was always one of my favorites. And it's actually where I learned to drive certain things like the Nordschleife because I didn't know it beforehand. Road America, the 128 miles, which I believe was 32 laps at Road America, was without a doubt probably my favorite one of them all because Road America is just my favorite track. Let's see, this was you know, pretty much the three longest tracks in the game, which was always insane. Drag racing, I didn't really touch on. Then you had the specialty make series as well, which was always great. But we're going to start off with season play.
In season play, you choose from among several events. These events fill up your calendar as you race through the season. Each event consists of multiple races. If you're not sure which event to choose, review the tips displayed under each event poster.
Alright, so I believe we qualify for all of them. So let's go with the All-American US one.
Calendar. Your first race is highlighted. When new events are added, this is where you can find them. Time for the first race of your new season. Choose Start Race.
So that was one of the things that was cool about this. It actually had a calendar that made it like you're actually a driver working your way through the ranks, trying to progress your driving career. So you actually had a calendar, and if you had multiple events based on what you were entered in, I think you had to pick, or you would have to do both or something like that before you could move on to the next one. And it was really cool that it did that, and it's just something that, I mean, after this game, Forza just completely abandoned that. Their quote-unquote career mode was pick this series, go to the next one, go to the next one. And it didn't feel like a career mode like this one does. Alright then, here we go, on the grid. And we are off. A lot of wheel spin, traction control kicking in there. So we head into turn one for the first time on this short loop. A little bit of contact there with another Aveo. We're going to get down to the inside, take the spot. Moving us up to P7 already. Looks like we got some Aveos and PT Cruiser in front of us. Going to look to the inside of him as we just sweep out of that corner there. The grip wasn't there to really make the move. As here we go. Not giving us any room. We're going to cut the chicane a little, get alongside of him, heading into the final corner. Because of how slow this car is, really how slow these cars are, they don't really require a whole lot of brake, which in a way I guess is nice. I mean, I'm just mostly lifting off and it seems to be taking care of it for the most part. So we're only up to P6 here as we work lap 2. Shift down into second there, try to get a better run off the corner. That thing just runs so wide there. Gonna get another little sharp run there, cut the chicane. Now, of course, in the later Forzas, they made it so that grass really slowed you down, but in Forza 3, it didn't do that. Which honestly is nice, because, I mean, that doesn't happen in real life. Grass doesn't slow you down as much as it does in these games. Here we go, looking down the right-hand side, not able to get it done there. And it's just so hard to figure out when to brake, because, again, with no travel in this brake, it's just kind of like driving the controller where it just seems like you automatically put it all the way down. We get a really good run there out of the hairpin, right into the back of that Aveo because he slowed down side by side. We're going to make some contact there, but we're okay. Look behind us, we're good. Not a great result, but for our first race, not bad, I guess, from starting dead last. We're going to finish P5. So P5 in that race earned us just under 2,000 credits. Not terrible, but not great, I guess. But we are halfway to level 1, and that's, of course, you had the car levels. In the later game, I don't think you have car levels. I think it's just an affinity level, which I can see the good and bad with that. You know, if I'm driving Chevys the whole time, you know, it makes sense that my Chevy rating would go up.
Finished your first race. Now, on to the next.
On to race 2, and this is the circuit we raced on in the starting race. But let's see, can we upgrade anything with the money we
Upgrades
have?
affect your car's performance.
Yes, we
Press the X
can.
button to see the list of parts you will be installing.
Alright, so what are we installing here? Some street valves and some tire width upgrades. So we're going to go ahead and do that, because that upgrades our car by 10 performance points. system they still use in the current Forza games, but I'll be honest, I've never quite understood what it means. I just know the class means which, what you can race against and stuff. But I've never understood how it determines the number for that stuff. Alright then, lining up on the grid for the second race of this championship. Get the engine revving in our Chevy Aveo. Alright, we won our last race here. Good start off the line. We're going to get 1-2 positions before we even get to turn 1. Maybe. Kick the car up against the rev limiter there. Oh, this is even shorter version actually than what we ran. So we're completely cutting the fast sweeping corners there, and the hairpin just going straight for the turnaround there, which does put us up to P7. So we weren't able to get 2 positions there, only the 1. As we work our way back up the hill here through this left-hander. Put the car down to second, then a quick shift back up into third. It is definitely still something I'm trying to get used to with the braking. I think that's the biggest thing that would take getting used to if I were to fully play this game again, which I actually intend to. Just because this was one of my favorite games. Not just because it was the first Forza game I ever played, or because I think it's the best Forza game. It's just a very solid all-around game. Turn 10 Studios, Forza 2 is a really solid game. I did go back and eventually play that. It was a solid game, but this game really, I think, perfected what they were going for. And I'll be honest, I don't know if there was changes at the team or what happened, if it was something from Microsoft, but it just changed so dramatically, starting with... Forza 4 was smaller changes, but it was getting rid of stuff like fuel consumption, that it really made you wonder what the goal was. And, man, we are abysmal in this race. We're going to come home in P7. We're not even close on this one. Got a lot of work to do before we can even compete with this yet. I don't know if it makes you redo championships, but we might have to redo this championship at the end. But and you could say the same right now with a franchise like Project Cars. Were the first 2 games perfect? No, but it laid a foundation, and this is what they set out to do. And when it came to Project Cars 3, they completely threw away what the series had been founded on, made it completely arcadey, more like a current Forza game, and it rubbed people the wrong way. And I've seen some people who feel the same about this Forza. That was probably one of the last good ones. People still enjoy Forza, obviously. It's still a great selling game.
Choose quick upgrade to automatically optimize your car.
I did that last time, but thank you. But it completely changed after this, and I'm not just sure why. We're at the Ladera test track for this one. This is definitely, I think, definitely in my top 3 of the fantasy tracks from the Forza Motorsport series. And it's a real shame this one hasn't continued. This one to me was the most fun. And it's mostly going to be for the chicane on the backstretch. Similar chicanes in the Gran Turismo series have been called death chicanes. And actually here, I believe it's on the front stretch, because I think we start in the chicane. Yeah, we do. So a very fast left-right chicane. Of course, in this car, it's not exactly fast, but in a faster car, it is very fast, and then it leads right into a corner, which is just amazing. But a great start from us. We're already up to P4 here. This is a very small circuit. All the ones have been small, but this one's probably the smallest. This is a 3-lap race, and I do enjoy this corner. This corner was really fun to do in the faster cars because of the G-force you would get and how difficult it was to keep the car grounded. It's even fun in these cars, even though you're pretty much full throttle because of the grip. Run right over the ripple strips there. They do it on the inside, I do it on the outside there. Cutting it a little low on the inside. Just tapping the brake there, that seemed to really help. So a lot of this car seems to be just tapping brakes, not actually using them for much. So we can get into the back of that Ford there. So we're going to look to the right and full on the gas out of the corner. Side by side out of the corner. He's going to have the line there, but luckily we can take 2 cars there as he takes the inside line. He actually slows way down. So the AI not overly aggressive in this game, at least not in these slower cars. We're actually up to P3 here, without a doubt our best run of this championship. All over the back of this Ford, just nowhere quite to do it. He slows down there. Get on the gas, see if we can do something here through this final corner. Such a long, long left-hander. We're on the gas, but we're just not going to be able to get it done, even though we'll have the run. But it's going to be P3 in the final race of this championship. Not bad. Nice net of $2,000 there, which does boost us. Yes, we finally get boosted up to driver level 2. And that's right. I mean, you know, nowadays it's the wheel spins that you get for leveling up. But back then it was just, this is the car you got. You knew what car you get at this level. And it also influenced the prices you'd get in the auction house.
Completing events will reward you with bonus credits.
Alright, so he came 5th in that championship. We do get a Fiat for our troubles because we went up in the driver level. Go ahead, select that.
First event, you now have more events to choose from.
So with that, then you get options. You have your hatchbacks, and then of course you have the stuff for the Fiat you just unlocked. When you go into the event list, the stuff in blue is stuff that you have something in your garage for. And then the stuff in green is something you can currently do. And because we didn't place on the podium, no trophy shown for the U.S. manufacturer, so we can go back and redo it. However, at this time, that's going to do it for this look back at Forza 3. I definitely plan on continuing to look at this game in the future. It was always one of my favorite games. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.